What's assembled around you this year and looking at it from previous years, just what kind of stands out in your mind?
The Western Conference stands out. It's if you're a competitor, you like competing. You're going to have an opportunity to go out 52 times a year and play against some of the best. And uh, we're excited about the young talent that we have, and it's a season where we're going to commit to playing even more young guys than we have in the past. And last year, as we've talked about, we played I think the six most first and second year guys minutes in the last 15 years. We played a lot of young guys minutes, and adding Marvin Bagley and Harry Giles into as first year guys. So continue to make that number go up and up, and it's an opportunity for guys to develop, and it's an opportunity for the organization to evaluate long term which guys will still be considered a core guy, 2 and 3 or 4 years from now.
What for you? Is it too early for you to really have a concept of what this team is about, or is there going to be a lot of things that kind of rise to the top over the next few weeks?
No, I think I have a pretty good idea of who we're going to play and how we're going to play, and I'm going to be serving a lot of different masters as far as different guys that we have a large number of guys that need to see playing time and be developed as much as possible during game time. So which is the most important. That's for everybody to argue about on talk shows. So this guy should play more. We got a lot of guys that need the experience.
Last year you had a couple of more older guys. You had Vince, you still had Garrett. You kind of had to talk to those guys about that process of developing the young guys and how they fit. How do those guys like Zach and Costa and Mon, as an example, fit in that role this year?
Uh, it's a losing Garrett is going to be the toughest one. He did a lot of things that people didn't see, hold things together that in the locker room, push, support, whatever it took. He was an important cog in what went on in our organization, and certainly I think Zach and Costa won us a lot of games last year. As well, and their win shares were pretty high, and I know Garrett's won a couple games for us too. So on the court, not having those guys, and then just having their ability to try to say things in the locker room and say things off the court, is your voice is always heard more the more you play. And so, we are committing to play a lot of young guys. I'm not saying that those guys won't play, but the bigger priority is to play as many young guys as possible.
How excited should the community be about this group here as opposed to maybe the last few years?
Well, it's an opportunity to find out, what we have and what does our talent look like 2 and 3 years from now, and go through that grind night in, night out, practice in, practice out of getting better. I've always said don't come back in 2 or 3 years. Enjoy watching these guys grow now, and we're just gonna be some great moments. And there was some last year too. We go 5-0 in 1 point games. 20-win teams aren't supposed to do that. And so, that's a feather in our guys' caps. Might not happen again. There's going to be times where we take a couple steps forward and then take a couple steps back, and that's young teams struggle against older teams, and that's why everybody has us picked where they have us picked, and that's okay. We're going to go out and compete every day in practice and get better. I think we did that last year. We won a lot of games, after the trade 2 years ago. We won a lot of games last year after the break. We don't take our foot off the pedal. We go out and compete as hard as we can.
Kind of along this.
Well, for me, I got to get him as much space as possible. I think that as we talk about different priorities and serving the needs of different parts of our development, I think the best thing you can do for him is a play fast, and b give him as much room as possible. I think a guy like Belly playing stretch four gives him a lot more space to play. And last year, our fastest lineup was playing Justin Jackson at power forward, next to Bogdanovich and Buddy Hield. And that group, I think, analytically, would have been the fastest paced team in the NBA. And I think that serves to De'Aaron's strength. And so, to play small and try to do that is I think best for De'Aaron, and I think that's if he's our franchise guy, which I think he is. And I think everybody kind of agrees on that. And yet we're still waiting for other guys as they develop and rise up in their career to say, hey, yeah, these three guys are the core, and that'll play itself out.
In that same vein, does he now need to maybe step forward and take on more of this? This is my team. Not saying this is I'm the franchise guy, but
Yeah,
this is my team. I'm
yeah,
a point guard.
yeah. You hope that he want have him out there, the first guy out there, last guy to leave, bringing guys together and being a leader. And it just takes time. Guys are so young, now younger than they've ever been. So um, try to be patient at the same time. Nudge, urge, push, however you can from a head coaching standpoint of different things that he can do on and off the court. And we have a great relationship. So he's going to continue to grow, and obviously he's got a very natural talent there.
With so many, have a lot of big men. How do you approach that going into the season? Having a luxury, if you want to say that, I haven't.
It's definitely a challenge. I think we talked about it. When you do a major trade like we did, it's not going to come out perfectly. Your roster's not going to. You're not going to get a point guard, a small forward, and a big, and all across it. You just sometimes to make numbers match and to things go back and forth, and you end up with the numbers that we have and the roster looking at it as it is. So it just takes time, and those guys all got to play, and guys will have opportunities to show what they can do and to develop their games.
With so many guys at similar junctures of their career, young guys, do you see a lot of internal competition amongst this group?
No, they're so young. It's kind of like you still want to see who can play, and there is. I wouldn't say they're all the same. I mean, it does look like there's a lot of similarity between position-wise, of where they are. So, but each guy kind of brings a different thing to the party, and to see who has the best work ethic and who competes and who has the biggest heart and who is toughest. So I guess maybe in that vein there is some competition, but by and large, they all got to play. I'm going to play them all. They all need to be developed. So, that's an opportunity for all of them.
How much do you define success this season for you as the for the team?
If you come in the locker room, if you come into practice at the end of January and you can't tell if we're 40-10 or 10-40, similar to last year, we practiced, we played it out, the whole way, and we continue to get better. We get along with our players great. The communication's fantastic. We develop. That's our number one goal as a coaching staff. And so, how measurable is that? You don't really find out those kinds of things till 2 and 3 years down the road.
What is the setback as the Logan situation right now?
It puts us behind a little bit. I was hoping to play he and Buddy Hield, either of them, or play them together as backup point guard. So I wanted to see how that looks and put more scoring, shooting on the floor. So that'll be a little bit behind, but we'll see. Obviously we'll always the best for him.
Isn't that facilitating? You mentioned Buddy playing a backup point guard, facilitating the offense, moving the ball a little more. Is that something you really want out of him to get him more minutes?
Buddy?
Yeah.
No. I mean, he's a big-time scorer. Can really, shoot the basketball, and I want him to do that as first and foremost until somebody can stop it or commit two people to playing on the ball.
You talked about Garrett and replacing him along those lines of leadership. Do you see qualities out of some of these guys, even albeit young guys, that could be possible to step in fill that void of leadership?
Yeah, I mean, you get to use your voice in a platform when you have years of service when you're a proven commodity or you've played in the playoffs, or you can just go get buckets or shut somebody down at will. So when those guys reach that point, then they'll be able to take those reins. But right now it's kind of by committee. A lot of these guys all know each other from playing in AAU, and they like each other. We've got a good group of guys. They work hard. I think pretty high character guys. So it's a little bit by committee as they find their personality as a group. And then certainly on the court, who's a go-to guy? Where do different guys like the ball? Hey, look, no, let me guard this guy. Let me turn the water off on this guy. As they grow up and take on those roles, I think, to me, that's the fun of watching them grow.
During this offseason, Coach, what some of the players who's coming in here consistently in this training center, working out?
They've all been in and out. Different guys, where they work and what they get their work in is all very positive.
In terms of getting them to play fast consistently, just how challenging is it how much is that on De'Aaron to kind of, in the point guards, to push it, but also does it also fall on the other guys to get out, run, reap, defend, and the other things you need to do to get out and run?
Yeah, it's definitely not easy to run when you're always taking the ball out of bounds after a made shot. So you got to try to get some stops, and we've got some areas that we want to improve as a team defensively. But it's kind of a new group, but yet there's still some carryover. So we're plugging in some new guys that are really young to add to a bunch of young guys who have 1 year or 2 years left, or 2 years under their belts. So you need to have the heart and the motor to go to the offensive glass 10 times in a row. If on the first nine you didn't get it, will you go a 10th time? To me, that's what running is. If you will run every single time knowing you might get it 4 or 5 times in a row and you might run 10 times in a row and not get it, do you have the guts to do that? And De'Aaron's going to have to push it, but it takes all 5 guys to do that.
Out of what you
One
saw
more,
out of
guys.
Marvin and some of the, what are some of the things you think you want to work with him on?
Well, I think first of all, he's got a terrific energy about him. I think he's a good energy guy right now until he can get himself on a court. And I know that sounds almost like negative. He's a guy's an energy guy, but I think that playing hard right now is definitely something that is a commodity and a skill. He plays hard. He goes hard. He soaks things up very well. You get on the floor because he plays really, really hard. He does things right the first correction, and then now what? Now you can expand your game, and I know I can get to my left hand, and I can go there. Okay, so I got something to go to. Good around the basket. Needs to learn a lot defensively. And he's just a young guy. He could very easily be doing 2-a-day practices at Duke right now as a freshman. So just to get him out there and every single day and get your hands on him, and it's been fun. And I think it's going to be an up and down season for young guys, but I think he'll grow a lot this year.